Hey guys, what's up? It's Rapid. So, I guess we have a lot to talk about because yesterday, just sort of out of the blue and not really for any clear reason, the competitive matchmaking beta went live for probably about 2 hours, and that was it. It was just 2 hours, and it was honestly. Let me start this off by saying I'm really bad at shotguns. Let me start this off by saying, like, it was the most fun I've had playing TF2 in like years. I could honestly say years. I've been playing TF2 for about 3 years, so I'd honestly say in years. Sadly, I didn't get any footage of it because I assumed that it was going to be like going on for longer. I only got to play about 5 games, but yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of fun. So here is just some here's some TF2 Center 4v4 gameplay, and the reason for that is because honestly, I'd say that 4s is probably the closest game mode to how competitive was played in the competitive beta, and I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, this is just some random 4s gameplay. But competitive, oh my god, that was legit the most fun I've had in I don't even know how long. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just like, it was so satisfying. Everything about it was super satisfying, aside from getting placed in servers like Tokyo and like Stockholm. Like, the majority of my servers were in places that were not America, which is kind of weird because it's like, for everybody else in the lobby, their ping was just as bad as ours was. So it didn't really make sense that they put us in a lobby in Stockholm where everyone has like 150 ping. But either way, even given that, it was still like unbelievably fun. The one server that I played that actually was East Coast US was my first game, and I shit you not, my very first game was against fucking members of Froyo Tech, and just two members from Froyo Tech and some other like invite TF2 players. Someone's ringing the doorbell. I'm not getting that. And like so that was fun. Is like, imagine it's like, oh, competitive beta, that's a thing. Let's take a look at this. I was like, okay, let's lobby up. What's our the very first game? You look at the scoreboard and you see like Ninja Nick, Froyo, Ascent, and it's like, I can't even. But it was still fun. My third game actually played against Clockwork, and I think he was playing with someone else, other invite players. I can't remember everyone's name, but they were all like people who were in Banny's like preview thing, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it was like, I can't even like explain to you. It was fucking fun. Let me think. What else did I want to say? It was fun. It was pretty easy just lobbying up with everybody. I lobbied up with Skymin, some of her friends, and some other YouTubers, and we just got into some games, and we actually really had a blast. Let me think. There was other stuff I wanted to talk about. Yeah. So the reason, I guess, why I said like 4s is the most like competitive TF2, at least inside of in terms of like the beta, in terms of like competitive TF2 as it was played during the beta, is that I guess a lot of people thought that it would be a lot more I guess serious, because what makes 4s different from every other game mode is that in Highlander, the thing about Highlander, oh, massive air shot. thing about Highlander is that it's a very strategic game. Everyone is supposed to play one single class, and it's all about strategically like moving everybody where they need to be. Sixes is still very strategic, but it's more like it's more about just winning fights. It's more about DM, and fours is different from both of those because I wouldn't say it's the most strategic, but there's no restrictions on what you can play. In 9v9, you're given one class to play, and you pretty much just have to play that class. In sixes, you can off class, but the idea is that, for the most part, sixes is played in a competitive environment. So off-classing is really only done in like emergency situations when you like need to get an advantage, or if you're like locked in on last and you have to like make an important pick. But like as you can see here in fours, you can sort of just kind of freely off class to spy to mid and actually like do work. And it's like, I don't know, there's nothing saying like I have to be the medic gets fucking butter knifed. There's nothing saying like I have to be a soldier, and there's nothing saying like there's no restrictions. And it's the same way in the matchmaking beta. There's no restrictions, and I actually kind of like that. The one time that I played against Clockwork, or like I guess his team or whatever, I actually managed to top score with a grand total of, count 'em, 2 kills, top scored on my team. We did get destroyed, but I was able to off class to spy to mid once, and I managed to pick their medic as a spy, and that was kind of cool. Did not stop the fucking Clockwork train from rolling me over, but all the same, it's fun. Like I don't necessarily like the idea of not being able to off class, or not being able to just go whatever class you want. I agree that there definitely needs to be restrictions on what classes you can play. I don't think anybody is necessarily having fun playing against like 5 pyros, 5 flog pyros, or having like a couple of demo knights being pocketed by like 5 medics. Like nobody thinks that that's fun, but also you kind of want to allow people the freedom to sort of do what you want. So in my opinion, I think that there should be an option to vote for class restrictions. So if it's like something that's just really is just like ruining the enjoyment of the game, you should be able to vote to say, okay, we don't want like 5 like snipers on our team. This is just ruining the game. These guys don't know what they're doing, and we just want to fix this. Versus sometimes people are just like, hey, we all want to be fucking hoovy, and we want to like have a a tea party, a hoovy tea party. And it's like, well, that's a part of TF2 too. It's like that's legitimately like enjoying for a lot of people. Like a lot of people like doing stuff like that. So I think having the voting option could help a lot. So I'm kind of like hoping that there's an option of something similar to that, like voting for class restrictions. But completely forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, that's sort of why I'd say it's more like fours, because fours, there's no class restrictions. There's no need for class restrictions. The main reason that in 6v6 there even are class restrictions is that it's played in a competitive setting, right? So if you are playing sixes and there's actually something on the line, you really like want to win, well, probably the most important fight in the game is the mid fight, right? So what do you want to do? You want to get to mid really fast, and that's why in sixes people play the classes that get to mid the fastest, and that's the reason why those classes are considered to be the 6v6 classes. But in a less competitive setting, you could I think it's perfectly fine to play 6v6 with whatever classes you want, and I don't see anything wrong with that. um I'm hoping. One thing I didn't like was that I felt like the games were too short. I don't know if they're gonna change that. I felt like 2 rounds was like way too short. um I think they should make it like either best of 3, or if not best of 3, at least sort of present some sort of higher level option to play like more games that have like halves, a more like well-rounded game that like has like multiple games to it if you're maybe a high ranking player or something like that. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
What you say? Who let you all anyway? What you say? What you say?